Very, very good answers. Okay. What do you believe are the most important characteristics of an effective school board?
I would say communication, and to tag on that, listen. You have to have good communication with the group, especially the leadership group. Listen to each other's opinions and ideas. You might not agree with the consensus when the topic is over, but I think you need to be able to respect the other opinions and viewpoints. And if the decision is made and you don't quite agree with it, I think you need to support that decision as a group, and then move on to the next aspect.
Yeah, I would agree with that community, whether you support the decision or not, because at the end of the day, you are the school board as a whole, and not just a single board member. And I think also just having more of that sort of 30,000-foot view, and just keeping in mind how can we serve our students. If you have that thought in mind as a board, you're going to win every time.
I would say, like said, being a good listener, not just listening, but listening to hear. Have you ever talked to someone and they are trying to interject as you are talking, or they're thinking of the next thing that they're going to say, instead of someone who really just listens and takes it in and is open-minded to new thoughts and new ideas, and also being trustworthy, knowing that you are in good hands, that you're going to be well taken care of. Your thoughts, your ideas, they are all going to be in good hands, and that your ideas and your concerns will be considered.
I would say willing to take in all the facts, then push your personal biases aside and allow yourself to have your mind changed on something. You know, you could come into a situation thinking you already know the answer, but someone could come before the board and put a lot of effort into how they want to present to you. Give them their 3 to 5 minutes to present to you and allow your mind to be changed on something. I think that's very important.
Yeah, I think those were pretty much everything I was going to say. Yeah, my experience, those things apply to those groups that have that kind of authority to evaluate and participate in determining paths and outcomes for some goals and success. I think so when we do those things, we listen and change and grow. I've seen a synergy come from that. So synergy is one of the 7 habits, and it comes from the maturity continuum of having the maturity to be able to listen and to be able to be changed. And then what happens is it's an understanding in a community, and less gets said, and more of what said, more of what does get said matters to get listened to. And then you have the synergy. Synergy is like 1 plus 1 equals 3 or 5. And then you're in that creative mode where you do great things. So, and the synergy, the finance in these organizations, there's a lot of opportunity for the dollars apply to everything we do. And so it's fun because you can look at the money and then discuss the it'll always start you, so you can always start, you know, to have these conversations around it. It's not about money, but it's something that takes you into every one of the subjects. And so, I find that managing the budgets effectively has also been, one important aspect of being in groups like this.
I agree with everything that's been said. I think some other important characteristics of an effective school board is the willingness to collaborate and to remember that you operate as a board, not as an individual, but it is important to have a cohesive team of independent thinkers. Sometimes some really hard decisions have to be made, and board members don't always agree, and sometimes it's hard to come to a consensus. But it's also important to remember that we all get our gas at the same place, and we all see each other at Fuller's or at a game or at a performance, and we still live together in a community. I think it's important that there be a commitment to learning together. Once you're on board, there's a lot to know, and you don't learn that just by showing up at boards. There's the Iowa Association of School Boards provides a lot of educational opportunities for board members, and I think that's important to take advantage of. But also, beyond what's important for the students, what's important for the school itself, what's important for the district, and legislative advocacy cannot be left off the table. That is a responsibility of every school board member, and I think an effective and solid school board should be made of members who are willing to advocate for their district.
A board member has to be dedicated, a lot of long hours, and even if you're not in in the room for board meetings, you're still constantly thinking about what's going on. You take some calls, and you're communicating with Will quite often. So you have to be dedicated. And it even kind of bleeds into your work schedule sometimes, or your activity schedule. You have to make a decision. Do I want to go to this, or am I going to go to the board meeting, right, or a work session? So dedication, is number one. I think a board member needs to be open-minded. They have to be a very good listener. You have to listen.
You're right.
To every view. And then I think board members have to be collaborative, because there's 5 members here, and not everybody, thinks the same or has the same opinions, and then once that decision is made, then you have to go with it. It's a decision by a majority. So just collaborative, and professional.
All right, so this is another community asked question. All right. Given the current climate where teachers are leaving the profession in droves, how do you feel the school board can help improve at Alburnett and aid in teacher retention?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is, I think, talking to the teachers and hearing directly from them about how they're feeling, what they're experiencing, and what would they need and want and desire and prefer to not leave, and to stay and to thrive, and really taking that feedback and taking that into consideration. So, I think just talking with the teachers and finding out where would be the first place to start.
One of the things that came up at the school board this month, Mr. Dial shared how they were in need of a tech teacher right now, and that is really important for our school district to have someone in the town in the area. So basically, we can have someone possibly who is already here in the district and help them get that accreditation, and it helps further them. We can help pay for it, and then there's just a contract between us and that individual that they need to stay in the school district or they have that. It's a win-win for the district. We have someone filling our role, and we're helping our staff and our teachers be able to grow in their position. And I know we have paras who are also studying to become teachers as well, and just helping develop who we already have on staff and help them further in their careers will help us retain them, and it will also help offer to the students what they need as well.
Employee retention. It's not only a school problem as well as in the private sector as well. Kind of like how we have 41% of students coming to this district, we also have a lot of teachers that are here and want to be here and are staying here, so it's important to understand why. Of course, one would think money drives everything. Well, even in the private districts, when we have people that leave, a lot of feedback we're getting, it's not necessarily, if I was getting higher wage, I would say there's other soft things such as flexibility or just the culture. So they are doing a lot of good things here, and I would encourage them, the administration, to find out what those things are, continue to foster and push those things, and the things that give feedback for this is not good, to help put policies and or things in place to get rid of those things.
Yeah, let's see the kids. Let's see running with our kids. I don't, this is a complicated thing. I'd like to, I guess what I would do with that is try to apply it to like a applied management decision research tool. And what that entails is you formulate a question. So kind of like what this question is, what is the best way to do something, retention, something like that. And then you do a literature review, you read all the things that have already been done on that subject, kind of paraphrase and document those. And then like Mary said, do a primary data gathering, so some questionnaire anything or something, then you get that back and analyze that data. You actually use a approved method of analysis. It's not really yours. And that's gathering the primary data, original primary data, so you're not duplicating data that's already been done. That's what your review is for. Yes, and then by using the method of the predetermined method of analyzing the data, then it will lead you to the conclusion of the best way to do those things. So you'll end up with the right question, and then you'll end up with 3, 5, 6 different ways looking for the best way, and you go through that primary data analysis, and you'll conclude the best way. That's kind of how I approach that.
I think teacher retention is a much bigger issue than what's just happening locally. This is a nationwide issue. I think Mary and both has some excellent responses in terms of how we can locally. But when teachers are giving a message nationwide that what they're doing in our schools is somehow indoctrinating our children in something that's really, really bad, it's difficult to fight that. I'm going to sound like a broken record, but I'm going to keep going back to legislative advocacy and support for our public schools. No money is the solution to all problems, but it would help us a lot. But also, we have to stop, not we necessarily, this isn't the people in this room, but when we know public schools are getting knocked, it's our job to stand up and say, that's not happening. This district is not indoctrinating children with something bad. Public schools in general are not indoctrinating students with things that are bad. We need to support public education, and that helps support our teachers. And they need to pay what their value is, and they just don't, and they haven't for a very long time. And that's hard to do when we want to keep our taxes low and we continue to be underfunded.
As far as teacher retention, I think there's a couple things we can do. Private sector, government, they have times where there's random questions. How do you feel about your bosses and the environment? And that's something, get an idea of what the temperature is with your staff. Exit interviews. Why are they leaving? Is it a money issue? Which, again, money doesn't solve everything, but is it something that's systematic that we can affect, that we can change? Again, it's just like Dan said, it's also in the public safety sector. And one thing I've learned from some of my training is the generation's motivation is different. They're looking for more of a life-work balance. When I joined, we wanted overtime, we wanted to work basically when he's talking about it. The people that we're hiring now just want to work 40 hours. So we have to understand the audience and try to tailor their environment as best as we can and retain the good ones. And sometimes people leave it's not necessarily bad, but maybe they just aren't fit for your district. And sometimes that's positive, but if they are an asset, we need to do what we can.
Yeah, well, I think the number one way to aid in that is we have to support our teachers. I said it a few minutes ago. We have to give them the tools that they need to be the best they can be. And if we handcuff them, that's no fun to work in a place that you feel handcuffed all the time. You're not empowered, to educate. Of course, they have to stay within the guidelines of the curriculum in the state. But we need to empower teachers to do what they do. They're the ones they're the professionals, okay? And we can all stand back here and talk about how it should be done and how it used to be done. But things change, people change, and I think you need to give those teachers that power, or empower them, and then we have to make sure the teachers are compensated for what they do. Whether that's money, vacation, benefits, those type of things, Right. And we're fortunate right now that we're in a good place financially, and we can do some things to try to make that better, so that we can compete with a surrounding district, like Linmar, Kennedy. But support is huge. Compensation is huge, and then just trusting them to do what they do. I just think that goes a long ways. It's unfortunate that we are in a climate where we are losing teachers, because I can't think of a better profession. I wish I was a teacher. I think that would have been a lot of fun. I like being around you guys, and when I was coaching football. So we need to get that interest back. Yeah. And have a positive spin on it instead of such a negative spin. Right.
there's 4 more questions left in this forum, and that is all we have for tonight. So, question asked by the community is, how do you view a board member's role in comparison to an administrator's role?
Actually, can you repeat that again?
How do you view a board member's role in comparison to an administrator's role?
Okay, let me think about this for a second. I would say that the board is there to support the administrators and we're more like the policy review and implementation, where the administrators are more on a day-to-day basis working with the staff, the teachers, the students, and we are there just to help support and to help make decisions for the district as a whole.
I would say checks and balances. So from a fiscal point, the board is there to approve a lot of fiscal decisions. We want to buy this bus. It's $70,000. You get another bid. Oh, we've been going with Uber forever. Well, I'm going to go check out another one. Oh, this other one now sells for $60,000. Things of that nature. So they're a good check and balance because us as the community taxpayers want to make sure that we're not just, the administration isn't just some kind of cruise control making decisions, that there's an overseer here to make sure that this is the right one. And then from a policy point of view, of making sure that from a check and balance, that the administration is consistent with the policies they have in place. There is a disciplinary action for this student. Was it the same for this student? Was it the same for this student? If so, then you would not want things of that nature. So I think there are 30,000 review of fiscal as well as policy.
So there's a code of ethics that is in the website. So the board members behave to a very high code of ethics. The reason I gathered for that is because the board member is one of the things that I think the main thing is representing the community. So the board members are the voice of the community, and we need to bring all of that voice to the administration. I think that's the main distinction, because the administration, I listened to the school board meetings, and they are already deeply involved in all sorts of details of everything. It is quite remarkable. It's not because it's a small school, because there's actually the same number of details in this school, and actually we have fewer people working on the same number of tasks. I think that even though that they're already doing that the administration has to execute, implement, these tasks every day, all of the administration. And so if we can be the voice of the people, it goes back to what these guys are saying about it's not one of our voices, it's your voices. We're kind of just kind of a conduit, right, to keep, and the information should flow both ways. So attendances are recorded. So the flow of information also has to go back out to the public from the board. And so I can see that being the key responsibility of the school board members in their support of the administration who's applying the policy on a day-to-day basis. That feedback, the input from the community to the board, and the feedback from the administration and board back out to the community.
I would agree. Responsibility of the board is to represent the voice of the voting public financially and in policy, but also to represent the best interests of the district to the legislators. We're not administrators, we're not employees of the district. Board members do not get involved in personnel decisions or disciplinary decisions unless it reaches the most critical level. Otherwise, the responsibilities of the board member are financial and policy and advocating for the district.
So, piggyback on what Jennifer said, so the school board is responsible for setting the framework that the superintendent's operating. So that's the policy, that's the budget. And then basically, representing all the taxpayers, people that voted for us in that position, board of directors, so we're directing the superintendent on how we like that district to operate. The only time we would be involved in a disciplinary issue, we're looking at expulsion. So again, we basically manage one employee, that'd be the superintendent, who manages everybody else in the district. So, that's the difference that I see.
I'll just kind of sum this up real quickly. I would say the role of the board is governance and decision making, and the role of administration is really the implementation and management of that.
Well, they definitely have separate roles, for sure. The board, I've been very fortunate to be part of this process twice, is responsible for hiring the superintendent, which would be like the CEO of the company, right? He's the big dog. And then he's responsible for every branch under that. So like you're looking at it as in a corporation, so your high school principal would be like the VP of operations at the high school level. Your principal would be the VP of operations at the junior high level. Your principal would be the VP of operations at your elementary level. Okay. So we have to make that hire, make that decision. That's a big one. Okay, that's probably the two biggest decisions we've had to make since I've been on the board, are hiring the superintendents. And then you have to trust in him or her that he's leading the district. He's running the district the way you expect, right? So then what we do is we don't get involved in the day-to-day. We don't do that. But we're responsible for fiscal responsibility. So any purchases, over whatever X amount of dollars, has to be approved by the board. Your tax base, all that type of stuff. The high level stuff happens here, but the day-to-day operations is there, and that's what we hired them for. Now, if there's continuous inconsistencies or things like that, those are conversations we can have, right? But in a perfect world, what needs to happen is the day-to-day operations need to happen in the school, and then like the financial decisions, policy decisions, such as when they change legislation in Des Moines, we have to make sure that our policies reflect those changes. Okay, so the day-to-day stuff is there. The higher level money things happen here, policy things happen here. So if we just stay out of their way, usually things work out pretty good. They're pretty good at what they do. I'm really excited for Will Dybel, Mr. Dybel, I guess I should say Mr. Dybel, to come in and show us his stuff. You know, he's been pretty impressive so far. You know, Danny Trimble leaving leaves a huge void. Of course, you know, she was great. She's moved on to bigger and better things, and so now I'm excited for a new era. You know, we're just gonna let Will do his thing, and we'll help. You know, I mean, you know, he'll have questions. You know, some of the biggest things that we can help with are, you know, some of the history of the district and where we've come from and where we are now. You know, and when I got on the board, you guys probably have no idea. You guys were pretty young when I started on the board. But when I got on the board, we were in a really bad fiscal, you know, financial situation. I don't know if you know this, but we actually were borrowing money to pay our bills, including wages. Okay, and we would get our tax money in, and then we'd pay that note off, that short-term note.
Right.
That's how we were doing business, and it was only 12, 13 years ago. That's not that long. Now we are, you know, a couple $1 million on the good side. You know, able to we have cash on hand to pay 2 months expenses, 2 or 3 months expenses in advance. Okay, that comes by a lot of hard work, a lot of collaboration with your administration. You know, that doesn't come easy, and sometimes those tough decisions have to be made, but you make them together, and everybody, you know, everybody has to kind of agree on it. You know, hey, this is the direction we're going. This is what we're going to do, and we're going to do it. If that's wrong, we'll fix it. You know, so yeah, we want to work together, but not step on anybody's toes. My phrase is we got to stay on our own lane. You know, so we got to try to stay in our own lane. Right. And let the professionals do their thing.
All right. Another community question. Many people who serve as a board member are also parents/family of students who attend Alburnett. How would you separate yourself as an elected official and a parent if you have a child in the district?
I think it's something funny and witty because I want my children to hear. As adults, I think we have to separate ourselves just about every day in certain situations. Where I work, I'm a manager of engineers. Personally, you know, there's many of them that I'm friends with. Professionally, though, as a manager, I have to keep things moving. There are times where I have to give feedback to someone who is my friend, but as a professional, we need to keep things moving along. So I need you to act in this way, or I need this deadline and then. So separating myself from kind of a professional environment to a personal environment is something I already do in my career. So I don't feel that's something that I would need to follow. Partly also because wanting to serve is something that I know there will be times that I may make decisions that my children aren't going to like. But as a parent, you can see further down the road for them, you know, you're making a decision to invest in this for them. So sometimes those decisions will just be made out of love, and you make those decisions every day as a parent.
I don't have any kids here, so I don't know if you want me to try to make a connection.
As a parent, knowing that you are a parent, does that in any way affect your school board?
Yeah, so as a parent, that affects me in the school board. And you know, I've learned a lot. My wife and I raising a couple kids. You know, we have more to learn from our children than we have to teach them and I've learned a lot. I'd like to get that back. It really, and it's a funny thing being a parent, is you learn all this stuff as they grow up, and just about the time you get it figured out a little bit, they're all grown up and gone. It's like, man, just got that figured out, and now you're done. So it's nice opportunity to not quite be done, and be able to get that back a little bit.
Yes, absolutely. Alright, so the question was, many people who serve as a board member are also parents or family of students who attend Alburnett. How would you separate yourself as an elected official and a parent if you have a child in the district?
Having been there is really not as hard as some might think it is. I think anybody who runs for the board who has children or grandchildren in the district gives that pretty serious thought. Not just about how our kids behave or what to expect of them, but how some decisions we make will impact them. I didn't serve on the board with anyone who hadn't said to their kids the same rules like you would apply to everyone else. You get in trouble, you get consequences, just like everybody else. I think that's one of the benefits going back to strengths of the community. I would say that's a pretty standard operating procedure. I think that also goes back to maturity, and I was talking about the maturity to make sound decisions earlier, so that's not a concern that I had with any other board member when I served.
I think it's simple to understand what the role is. So, as a school board member, you know what your role is, where you're in that chain of problem solving. I know that was a newsletter in the last year, maybe two. If you have this issue, you see this person. If you see this issue, you see that person. So that's understanding your role. If you've ever been a coach's son, which I have, and my boys and boys for them are as well, sometimes you're also a higher standard. You're expected to set the example. Fortunately, I don't have to worry about that. My two boys, but again, just understanding roles as a board member and directing people to the right place when they do have some issues or something they're looking to get control.
Yeah, not a lot different to say. I think in a role, knowing the hat you're wearing at that moment in time, but we're all here doing this for the kids and for the students, and we want to continue with the wonderful path we're on. So I think just knowing that okay, now I'm a board member, not necessarily a parent right now, and just being able to know which role you're playing at each time.
Basically, just going to reiterate what they said, but we all wear different hats: mom, wife, school board member. But when if I were to be elected, I would make that decision with my school board hat. When I walk into a board meeting, it would any decision made. Yes, you're going to have different things that affect your life experiences, and have given you the wisdom over the years, but you are making that decision with the school board member hat, and we just take that very seriously and make sure that it's a decision that is for all the students and for the entire district, not just for a certain group of people or that type of thing. So I just think that it's really important that we can call opinions and different viewpoints into consideration when we make those decisions.
I think most board members you're gonna find are gonna have kids or family in work, or in the district. In a small town, that's what you get. And I think that's a positive thing. You know, I don't think that's a bad thing. It can be hard to separate the two as a parent, as a board member. But as a board member, you are a parent, right? So it doesn't matter if I'm sitting at this table or if I'm sitting in the stands. You know, I'm a parent too.
Yeah.
And parents have expectation. You know, they want to see everybody do well. They want to see everybody treated fairly. And I don't think that differs here at all. I mean, I think that your expectation as a parent should be your same expectation as a board member. And so to separate the two, I don't think you really can, and I'm not sure you should. You know, the one big area that you have to is that there's so many things that as a parent you would like to see. Okay, man, I'd really like to see this or that. Well, sometimes the funding just isn't there. You know, sometimes the money's not there. Sometimes expertise isn't there. Whatever that looks like. So you have to be able to separate that part of it. But a board member and parent, man, it all goes the same. It's all the same. You know, the expectation is the same.
Yeah.
Here, you just have a little bit more responsibility as far as making sure those funds are spent on our kiddos. You know, and every kiddo the same.
Right.
You know, we can't just have. You know, I'm a football guy, so we can't just have all the activity money going to the football program. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's the biggest separation that you have to make is what your kiddo is, you know, what my kiddo is involved in. Well, just because my daughter's not in band doesn't mean band is any less important to this district. Right. So that's the separation that you have to make.
Yeah.
But the expectation is the same.
All right, so due to time, we are only going to have one last question, and this is going to be a fun one for you guys, so you relax a little bit. I would just like to thank on behalf of NHS all of our core candidates for coming out tonight and being willing to answer all these questions, and I want to thank all of you guys for being able to be here tonight, so thank you very much. The last question we're going to ask is, what is your dream vacation and why?
They've changed over the years. So if I was to combine them, I guess we would be dirt bike racing, pulling a snow skier on the sand on the beach. What do you want to hear?
I really wasn't expecting a question like that. I think I'd say I still want to see the Northern Lights because that's the best place in the world to see them.
Is there a limit to how long this vacation can be? I'd like to go back to Europe, I was a military brat. I was born in Italy. I know I don't look Italian, and that's okay. But the culture, the different people, customs, I think that would be great for me. And of course, I won't do it alone and take my family with me and just see what else there is out there in the world, right? I've traveled a lot for work, for the military, for vacation. When I'm on vacation, I'm glad I live that way. So, some places are great to visit, but not so great for living.
My dream vacation would be fully funded by someone else. It would be a month long, and it would be with my family, my closest friends on the beach near the ocean.
It wasn't until recently that I really understood what vacation was. We have 5 kids, and when they were little, it's just like taking a trip and be parenting in different roles, basically. And a few years ago, we took a trip, and like, oh, I get it. Like, this is why people do this. And so now I would just say, just going somewhere warm with my family would be perfect for me.
I've been fortunate to actually travel a lot in my life for various reasons, whether it's work or just my parents being in the military. So I learned the world is a lot smaller than we really think it is. So my dream vacation is actually more about time. I have 4 sons, 2 are adults, and 2 are still in the school system. So I would love to go somewhere in remote wilderness with him and my wife, where there's no cell reception. So we all have to just view each other and talk.
Well, actually, I'm living my dream. We have a tourist camp. This is my buzz. This is my little my advertisement for my fishing camp. So we actually have a fishing camp up in Ontario. So that's where we love to go, and that's we do it. So I guess I don't really have any other desires to go anywhere else.
Yeah.
So I'm plugging the fishing resort and telling you how great our vacations are all at the same time. But yeah, we like to do our fishing and we go north of the border and do it.
It's awesome.
All right, I'm going to invite Tiffany Grigson up here for our closing comments, and then I invite all of you for food and cookies just outside, made by FCCLA.
All right, guys, let's give a round of applause to the NHS members. I will say, as much as the big turnout is a smile on my face, it won't really matter if we don't show up and vote on November 7th. So I'm not sure if you heard, but the last couple of elections, the turnout was pretty dismal. I think it was something like 9 and 15%. You guys, that's like the candidates, grandmothers book club coming and deciding what happens in the school. So we can change that. We can make a goal. Let's say like 50%. I'm shooting for the stars, so let's be optimistic. Wait. Oh, this just in. So our new superintendent, said that if we have a record turnout, he is going to shake his head. So thanks so much for that. You have a record, But anyway, regardless of whether it's school district or not, tell your friends, tell your neighbors' friends, tell your dogs, cousins, uncles, co-workers, friends to show up and vote on November 7th, because if you actually care about the school and the community, you'll make that a priority and put it on your calendar. So thanks for coming. Make sure you have cookie and refreshments.